In today's video, we're taking a look at the 2025 NHL Draft, discussing a lot of the rumors that have been going on, suggesting what we may see for activity. Of course, the NHL Draft is about a lot more than just teams selecting new players. There's lots of draft picks that can be traded to get certain players in the draft, can be traded for other roster players. There's lots of teams that are expected to be active. So today we're looking at the teams that have the most draft selections, the teams that are most likely to be active making these moves at the draft. And we're going to talk about some of the top players that are most likely to be seen traded at the draft as well, and that's coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, today we're taking a look at some NHL draft trade rumors. Now, of course, usually around this time of year, we usually start to do one of these videos every so often. There's been a lot of chatter now that we know the NHL draft order for the bulk of the first round, what teams might be willing to do. We also know that there's lots of teams that have, multiple picks and are looking for, immediate help, immediate improvements. And there's obviously lots of other, rumors about players being traded that we've already talked about in prior videos. And today, amongst those players, we'll discuss some of the ones that I feel are the most likely to have that trade actually come to fruition at the 2025 NHL draft. So, for example, today we're going to start by looking at some of the teams that I think are going to be having the most likely possibility of being active as far as trades go. Some of those trades will involve picking up or moving rostered players, and some of them are going to involve moving some draft picks from this draft. So the first team I want to discuss is the San Jose Sharks. Now, last year, the Sharks were fortunate and picked first overall, getting Macklin Celebrini. I know before the draft lottery, GM Mike Grier had made comments suggesting that, if he were to be lucky enough to get first overall again, he would definitely be a lot more interested in considering, at least, doesn't mean he would do it, but he would be more likely to consider trading the pick than he would have been last year. Now, the Sharks didn't have the lottery balls go their way. They ended up getting the second overall selection. And, well, I still think that holds true for what Grier had to say. We've seen the Sharks accumulate some really good prospects over the past couple of years, especially last year. They had a really good 2024 draft, picking up several really good-looking prospects. And they will likely do the same this year, adding some more, prospects to the cupboard here to build for the future. But this second overall pick, it's not 100% given that they make the selection. Now, I think when it comes down to it, these top 5 picks in the draft are rarely traded because the asking prices are so high. But if there's a player that a team really feels that they need to get their hands on and are willing to pay the prices, we could see some activity. Now, the fact that you've heard a GM picking that high openly say, yeah, I would, more so than prior years, would consider trading this pick, then it means that it's at very least it's in play. If there's teams at 3, 4, 5, 6 and they're looking to move up and really zone in on a certain player, Mike Grier will listen to you. It doesn't mean he's not going to ask you for a ton of capital here, but it's willing to at least entertain the pick. So we'll see what the San Jose Sharks do. The other thing to watch with the Sharks is that they also have multiple first-round picks. They have their own pick at second overall, and they do have the first-round pick of the Dallas Stars. Now, the Stars are in the conference finals. They're still playing. We don't know exactly which one they're going to have, but it's going to be near the bottom, somewhere between 29 and 32, depending if they win this round, go to the Stanley Cup final, or win the Cup, or what have you. So, ultimately, that's pick at the very worst, it'll be 32nd. At the very best, it'll be 29th. So, they have an extra first rounder to kind of play with here as well. So sometimes you see teams kind of package things together in order to get more first round picks or to move up in the first round, things like that. Another team to watch is going to be the Montreal Canadiens. Now, a couple of reasons here. We know that the Canadiens obviously made the playoffs this year, and they're also a team that have multiple first round picks. So when you have multiple first rounders, you might be willing to move one, sometimes more than one. It depends on where you're picking. In Montreal's case, they have the pick of the Calgary Flames that came from the Sean Monahan trade. They were given a first rounder to take that contract off their hands. In fact, he got healthy, played well, and then, of course, they were able to trade him for more further return. Then, of course, he's back, being a pretty good contributor now to Columbus Blue Jackets. So Montreal, all this time later, will get to reap the benefits of that trade. So they're picking 16th and 17th. The picks that they got of their own and the Flames are actually back-to-back. So we know Montreal desperately looking for this offseason a number 2 center. They want to take the pressure off Nick Suzuki. They want to boost their top 6 forwards and their top 2 lines. And getting a number 2 center will go a long way in doing that. I think to some degree they would also like to consider a top 4 defenseman, but only if they feel like that top 4 defenseman is probably on the younger side of things and would be an upgrade over some of the guys they have coming. Right now on the right side, for example, they're losing David Savard to retirement. They have guys like Logan Mailloux, David Reinbacher. They're expected to be real good players for them down the road. But if they feel like they can get a defenseman that's 22, 23, 24 years old that they can have with them for a long time, it would be an upgrade on those guys, then they would consider, I think, doing that as well. We've seen them make trades at the draft for multiple times now in recent years, including Kirby Dach, including Alex Newhook, and I think wouldn't be shocking if we see them do it again. The Canadiens have plenty of draft capital and they have plenty of prospects. They're already in the playoffs this year. They want to get better, and they want to get better now, not in 2 or 3 years down the road. So would it be a shocker if they try to move at least one or maybe even both of these picks together in order for to get a player that can help them immediately now? That would not be shocking in the least. So I think Montreal will be very active here. Columbus, another team to watch. Don Waddell has indicated that his picks are definitely in play at the draft. They're picking 14th overall and 20th overall. So another team with multiple first round picks. So Columbus, they have some picks that they are willing to move here. The Blue Jackets are picking 14th and 20th, and Waddell's made it known that both picks are in play. They had a pretty good season considering everything the team dealt with. In the offseason, losing Johnny Gaudreau in that tragic accident. The team was, had every reason to think that, they'd come in and they would be down and they would be out. They lost not only a teammate killed in a tragic accident, but he was their best player, most productive player at that. So for this team to bounce back the way they did, it was quite something. And I think Waddell has acknowledged that he wants immediate help here as well. So 14 and 20, to some degree, both picks are in play, and he's made that known. The Flyers and the Predators both have 3 first-round picks. Philly, of course, has their own at number 6. They have the Avalanches at number 22, and they have the Edmonton pick, which is like I mentioned about the Dallas pick, somewhere between 29 and 32. So the Philadelphia Flyers are still rebuilding, still looking for some immediate help to join some of their prospects. I don't think they would trade all 3. I think they'd most likely hang on to number 6. But, if they do want to move up, if there's a player, that's expected to go like 3, 4, 5, that they absolutely feel like they need to get their hands on, trading pick number 6 with 22, for example, and something else might be something that they try to offer. So hard to say, but when they have 3 first rounders, I would expect them to not make 3 picks. I can see at least 1, if not 2, being involved in trades to try to get themselves some immediate help here as well. Nashville, like I said as well, they're picking at number 5, number 23 with Tampa's pick, and number 26 with the Vegas pick that they've picked up in trades. So again, I don't think Nashville is a team that really expected to be here. They completely, had a terrible season. They went from being a playoff team to adding a whole bunch of, high-end help through free agency to collapsing this year. So they don't expect to be here. They don't expect to probably be here next year if they can bounce back. So I'm sure that the Predators are going to be a team looking to shake things up here. Now, the Preds are a team that have a lot of players signed long-term. So again, changing things up there is not going to be an easy task for Barry Trotz to do. But, they could make 3 picks. But when you have 3 in the first round, it's really difficult to say what they may do. I think I'd be shocked if they move the number 5 pick, but again, unless they're able to get a blockbuster deal with a player that's phenomenal and good young age or something, which is probably unlikely, the other 2 picks are certainly in play for sure. Now, Calgary doesn't have their own first rounder, but they do have 2 in the first round. They have the first round pick of the Devils and the Florida Panthers. And of course, the Panther pick, we don't know what number that is. Somewhere again between 29 and 32. So the Flames are a team that's looking for immediate help as well, expected to be busy through free agency. So Again, another team to watch, Chicago, picking at number 3 and 25. They have the Maple Leaf pick. So another team to keep a close eye on. We know they want to get some immediate help there for Connor Bedard. At number 3, they can get themselves a really good prospect to help with that. So difficult to say what the Blackhawks do, but they're certainly a team that I would fully suspect to be active here. We know Utah jumped up 10 spots in the draft lottery, winning that second draw, going from number 10 to number 4. I don't expect that to be traded, but Utah made it known last year that we're here, and we're here to get better quickly. We want to be in the playoffs, and they made some big splashes via trade at the draft last year, primarily Mikhail Sergachev being their top target, and I wouldn't be one bit surprised if they do it again between this draft and even free agency. I think Utah would like to add another star player, and whether how they go about that, I'm not sure, but I don't know that it's going to involve pick number 4, though. I think they probably hang on to that selection. The Sabres are a team trying to end a 14-year drought. They're picking at number 9, and to be honest, at number 9, you're getting a player that's probably a couple of years away, so I very much believe what we've heard from Kevin Adams and the Sabres and the rumors around, that's another pick that very well could be in play. As well as the Sabres are going to look to package that with something to bring in some immediate help. The Ducks have made it clear with their changes in hiring Joel Quenneville that they feel like they've improved enough that they can make a leap and try to go for the playoffs next year. So they've got a lot of picks. They've picked in the top 5. They picked in the top 6, 7 picks a number of times now since they've been going through this rebuild. They have lots there. This is a pick at 10 that would be a couple years out that I think they could afford to trade as well. So again, I think you're looking at a lot of picks, probably after 5 or 6, that very well could be in play. There's no doubt. Now, some of the top players that I think are very likely to find themselves on the trade block and likely have this happen at the draft would include Flames defenseman Rasmus Andersson, I think, is a big one. He's on the final year of his contract. I think that for what he's going to be looking for in his next contract, I don't know that it makes a lot of sense for the Flames to extend him. Now, it may not come down to this. Some of these players might be holdovers for the NHL trade deadline, but Andersson to me is a prime target where somebody could trade for him with a year now, get an extension done, and have him in place for a long time. Real good top 4 puck-moving defenseman. Defensively, maybe has holes in his game, but a real good player that can help in a variety of other ways. Chris Kreider, the New York Rangers. We know Kreider is very likely to get moved. This could be a prime time where teams do that. Obviously, the Rangers are going to be looking for cap space, so I don't expect the Rangers to be getting anything in return that's going to be immediate help on the roster. Probably would be something draft pick related or prospect related. Bo Byram of the Sabres, another team to watch. Between the Sabres, first rounder that's likely available, along with Bo Byram, they're going to be going big game hunting here as well. We know the Sabres are under a lot of pressure with Kevin Adams, the GM, there to get in the playoffs. So I suspect they're going to try to pull off some kind of big significant move, and both of those assets could be in play. I think Marco Rossi is another big name to watch out of Minnesota. Lots of speculation that he could be moved, that the Wild are looking to shake up their center core and maybe find a different type of player. Now, Rossi, it might be multiple moves for Minnesota to get the player they want. It may end up being a move where they trade Rossi to one team and then use that assets or whatever comes back towards another team to flip to maybe be a 3-team deal. I'm not sure that there's really a lot of obvious fits out there for Rossi where the Wild can get a player back that they like better. I know teams like Montreal come to mind for Rossi as a number 2 center, a team like Columbus, a team like Calgary, even Philadelphia. Like all those teams that are looking for help that way would make sense. To some degree, I think New Jersey needs to shake things up. Tom Fitzgerald made that known, that it's not going to be the same team coming back and that they need to shake things up a bit. I think Dawson Mercer is a player that might be available. So Isaac Howard of the Lightning, if he's not moved before the draft, I fully suspect he'll be somebody looking for a new home so he can hopefully play in the NHL next year. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen with the Sabres, another name between Byram, Pekka Luukkonen, and then, of course, their first rounder. I think you're going to see a lot of Sabres activity and assets be on the table here. Like I said, the Sabres are going to be one of the more desperate teams trying to find something big as they want to get back into the playoffs and that drought. The biggest one that we could see, and I think it's probably less likely, is Elias Pettersson of the Canucks, although I wouldn't completely rule it out. The Canucks are in a situation where they're they're really worried about the future of Quinn Hughes. They're probably worried about the future of this team as well. And can they win with Pettersson? He's gone through a lot this year. Has a no-move clause coming up that's going to kick in. And it wouldn't be a complete shocker, to be honest, if they pulled off a big, massive trade. Although, knowing Jim Rutherford and Patrick Allvin, I know they're not afraid of it. But at the same time, you got to be careful, because if he finds his game and can be that consistent 100-point player for you, then you may not be able to win that trade. So it's really difficult to say how things go on that front. But those are some of the players that I fully suspect to be available this year at the draft, along with all those first-round picks. There's bound to be more. There will be a lot more activity and chatter around things we could see at the draft coming up here, so stay tuned. We'll be doing these videos probably about once a week or so as things heat up over the next month leading to the NHL draft. Let me know your thoughts on all of today's draft rumors in the comments. We'll discuss further. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with all the news, rumors, and analysis of all 32 NHL teams. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.